hopefully sooner or later.
All right, folks. Welcome everyone to First Day Woodturners March meeting. I'm glad to see everyone could come out this evening. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. Um, I just a little housekeeping. Tom, Mike, and Jim, I've made all of you co-host in case I lose my connection or whatever. So you all three are co-hosts now. Um, I guess we'll just go ahead and start. Actually, before we start with chapter business, are there any guests or new members here tonight?
Yep.
I see
Yes, can you hear
Alan.
me?
Yeah, Alan Sanborn.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi,
welcome.
pleased to be
Yep.
here.
Where are you from, Alan?
Bear, Delaware.
Okay, great. Glad you could join us. The
I'm
first,
also a member of the Delaworkers Woodworkers Guild,
oh, great. Okay.
so that's how I heard about you guys.
Okay, cool. Yeah. First time here?
First time here, yeah.
Yeah, good. Welcome. Yeah, you do some turning?
I'm my experience is with metal turning,
Okay.
but I'm hoping to get into wood turning.
Good. Great. Yeah, it's addictive. Got to warn you. Any other guests or new members?
Yep. Guest, yeah. Straight.
Oh, yes. Where are you? I'm looking I don't see the
I can see myself on the screen, so
uh,
Hey, there
I
you
don't know
are.
if perhaps I need to be
I'm
let in. So
maybe you're on the second page here. Anyway, yes, I saw your email this
yeah, thank you.
afternoon. I'm glad you could make it
Thank you very much
all the
for
way from New Zealand.
allowing me in. Yeah, Straight Nicholson. I'm visiting my son sitting in the background there. I'm from Auckland, New Zealand. I'm president of the South Auckland Woodturners Guild, and the training coordinator for our training program. So that's me.
Great.
And where are you now?
I'm in Ricestown, just outside
Oh,
Baltimore.
oh yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I see you now.
Yep.
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you could drop in. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Stop back anytime even when you go back to New Zealand. We're if the time difference isn't too terrible, you're welcome to stop back anytime.
Thank you very much.
Most of our
Yeah.
meetings are free and open to the public.
We don't want him up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, right, right.
Did you say how you learned about us?
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, how did you happen to learn about our group?
Oh, I was at what used to be the Easter show, sort of agricultural show with my daughter about 12 years ago. And she wanted to go and look at some girly things, and she sort of looked around and she said, Dad, there's some woodwork, go and have a look there. That's when I bumped into some other members of the Woodturners Guild, and they were very encouraging and polite and so on, and handed me a form and invited me to a meeting. And about 6 months, 8 months later, I found the form lying on my desk when I was clearing my desk, and I thought I'd better go and show my face. And I've hardly missed a meeting other than when I've been away for the last 10 years.
Mm,
So,
That's great.
how about that?
yeah, yeah, we got quite a big club, about 130 members.
Oh, that
On a
is good.
Wednesday, on a Wednesday evening, we have face-to-face meetings on a Wednesday evening at our club room, and we'd have, depending on the demonstrator, if someone like myself is demonstrating, you might get about 40 people. If one of the other demonstrators more well known, you might get 60 to 70 people at an evening.
Oh, that's
So
great.
uh,
Is that in person or online?
in person.
In person. Yeah, we don't currently have an in-person meeting place, but we do have in-person events throughout the year. Try to get together as much as possible. Well, again, welcome. I'm really
Thank you.
glad you could make it.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
Anyone else? Any other guests or new members? All
Hey,
right.
I'm just
Well,
Hey, I'm just having fun rotating. And when I turn myself upside down, my sweater goes away. This is too much fun. Sorry, I'll get back to serious.
All right, if there's no other guests or new members, I'm going to
Uh,
go through some quick
Joe,
chapter. What?
Joe,
Sorry.
can I mention one thing?
Yeah. Hi, Fred. Yeah.
I don't think you were on, and I don't think Tom was on when I mentioned that Don Hart was in the hospital.
Oh,
I'm so
no.
sorry. No, I'm sorry to hear
Okay.
that. No, I
He
was out eating,
he
having
had
my dinner.
they found some water in his lung or something, but he seems to be getting better, and he should be released tomorrow morning.
Oh,
Wow.
But I
good.
just thought I know Tom would want to know, and you would. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Please keep me updated.
all right,
Speak,
I
Yeah,
will.
Speaking
offline. Yeah.
of hospitals, Don Searles is still in the hospitals. He's at rehab hospital, Eden Hill in Dover.
Oh,
He's been in almost for 4 weeks, 5 weeks now.
oh my. Oh
Yeah.
boy,
So,
that's not good. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I'm going to just quickly run through a few announcements here, and then we'll get into our. Can we all see this? Yes.
Yeah.
Like, see if I can go full screen here. View full screen. Does that work? There we go. Kind of. Not really.
Almost.
Oh, I know what I do. One more step there.
There you
There.
go.
Okay. So. As you probably saw in the slides during the beginning here, our main event tonight is a demo by Steve Childers, who's going to show us how he makes his really cool castles. So we're looking forward to that. He has a presentation and a video demo. We had a lot of fun. Steve came over here to my shop here, and we filmed. He was here for a few hours a couple weeks ago, and we did all the filming for the video. It was a lot of fun.
And thank you very much for the use of your shop.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. So yep, this is our agenda for the day, for the evening. So we've rolled out a new mentoring program for members. We have 5 or 6 of our more experienced members who've agreed to have other members, into their home workshops for mentoring sessions. So we have a dedicated page now on our website where you can sign up to either be a mentor or to get some mentoring. And that's firststatewoodturners.org/mentoring. There's also a link on the main page on our homepage. So, and also we have our WIT meeting is coming up. I guess that's next week. Anyway, the WIT meeting. WIT is the
At least
Women in
it's right
Turning.
side up.
Yeah. WIT is having their meeting next Sunday, the 15th, in Bridgeton, New Jersey, at the Steamworks. This month's project, they're going to be making icicles for the Delaware Hospice Festival of Trees. That's every December.
What is Steamworks?
That is a makerspace in Bridgeton, New Jersey. Fred is deeply involved. Fred and Maggie are involved, and also Reggie are involved there and work there. It's a really nice makerspace. They actually have with 3 of our lathes there, Fred. That 3 of our mini lathes that they give lessons to high school kids, middle school and high
I
school.
just had 12 freshman students from Burlington County school down today, and they all made their tops to take home with them.
Great. Yeah. That's a nice space. So the AAW's annual symposium is coming up in June. It's going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina this year. It's a great opportunity. If you've never been to one, I highly recommend it. And I don't have a link here, but if you just go to the AAW's website, woodturner.org, you'll see information on that. We have a downloads and resources page on our website also. We got lots of demo previous former demos and presentations, and lots of information there that you can access. Highly recommended. And speaking of our website here on this is the main page of the website. Under the downloads, etc. menu, there's where you can find a lot of these resources. The mentoring page, our newsletter archive, or we have a classified section. So that's where you can find that on the main page of our website. And just again, we want to thank everyone for being here tonight. If you have a camera that's working, please turn it on, especially for the beginning portion here, so we can see your smiling faces. And we will be having a raffle, a 50/50 raffle again tonight. I think we're up to 100 and I think it's $135 for the total tonight. It might be a little more than that, or maybe it's 165. I think it's 165. I'm sorry, 165. I'll have to double check that. And it's not too late if you still want to get a ticket. firstatewoodturners.org/raffle to get your tickets. And the drawing will be held live at the end of the evening tonight. And we again thank everyone for your support. We really appreciate it. It helps us a lot. And finally, it's our membership is based on the calendar year, so our dues are due every January. If you missed the discount, the membership drive, the fall membership drive for 2026, you've got one last chance to get a discount on regular and family memberships. If you use the coupon code Renew26, you'll get $5 off either a regular or a family membership. And again, these are annual memberships. It's pretty good bargain, we think. And this promo ends on March 15th. Again, and this is for new members or renewals. You can use this coupon code to get $5 off. Go to our website there. You'll see that. And thanks everyone who's renewed and signed up. And if you're not sure if you have renewed or signed up, just give us a shout and we'll check. We're working on getting that functionality on our website where you can check yourself. But for now, if you're not sure, if you don't remember if you've paid for the year, just give us a shout and we'll get back to you promptly. And at this point, that's all the announcements I had. Does anyone else? I know there's a couple officers from other chapters here tonight. Did anyone, Paul or who else? I saw.
Hi, Joe. Just a quick reminder, next Tuesday is Del Val's meeting. All are welcome to join us there. And we are having our classes. We still have several openings, so if anyone would like to explore that, come on out. You're more than welcome.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Any other quick announcements or things we should
Just a reminder that Thursday mornings is the coffee hour. It's been going on since COVID started.
Yeah,
we're up into almost 300 meetings.
Lancaster Coffee Hour?
Yeah, Lancaster Club's coffee hour. If you want it, I guess I could dig up a link and put it in the chat. But if you want, Marge is also part of it or attends it regularly. So, yeah.
Great. Thanks, Jim. All right. If there's nothing else, then I'm going to turn it over to Steve. And we're going to start out with a quick presentation. It's going to give an overview of his process. If you have any questions, Steve, do you have a preferred way of handling that? We could put questions in the chat.
I think just shout it out. We'll just hold everything up for the question.
We're good to go. Yeah. So this is Turning a Castle on a Rocky Crag by Steve Childers. Steve?
All right, I was born in England, and that's a long story. But I've always had a fascination with English stuff and castles in particular. But 36 years ago, here in Delaware, I was a member of the Woodturning Center, which is now the Museum for Art and Wood. And in one of their turning point issues, there was this picture of this castle. that Robert Samuelson had made. And that kind of got me thinking about it. I'm not trying to copy his by any means, but it just made me think about castles. So I make my castles out of cherry logs. Slow down a minute, Joe. Yeah, one more. All right. I make my castles out of cherry logs. Cherry is a little unusual in that when it dies, the sapwood rots away fairly quickly, and it leaves the heartwood very, very solid and strong. So that's what I go out seeking. And if you go out seeking them, just remember that cherry trees don't like it in the deep forest. They like to have a little bit of sunlight. So look around the edge of the fields uh, for cherry trees. And make sure you've got the owner's permission, of course. All right, after I cut them to lengths, it depends on the piece of wood, but 12 to 16 inches long. They need to be not too big around, 5 or 6 inches. And when I make the cuts, it's important to make the ends square, especially the one at the bigger end that's going to be the bottom of your castle, because that's the base it's going to sit on. After I get it home, I brush on a coat of Zinsser Bullseye Seal Coat. That's a wax-free shellac that actually can be used as a primer on virtually any finish. I like it because it dries quickly. It helps protect the look of my rocky crag, and it's not too shiny. So I just let it dry overnight, and it's ready to go. I mount it on a faceplate with the on the bottom end. Uh, I always use 2.5 inch lag screws because I don't want that thing coming off of there. And of course, I use a tailstock and a live center to support the other end. Go ahead, Joe. Make sure your lathe speed is very slow, of course, because you don't know how it's going to be balanced at first. Make sure your tool rest is clear, of course, and locked down. Stand off to the side and turn on the lathe. And it doesn't have to be perfect as long as your lathe can handle the wobbling around. Somehow that piece that we made this demo with just came out perfect. We didn't have to change it once, but it's not unusual for me to have to change it several times. I like that picture. That's a famous castle in, I don't know, someplace in Europe.
Oh yeah, shout out to Jim for putting together this. Jim
Absolutely.
Jim Wadham put together this
Well,
PowerPoint for
I
us.
provided that picture for him, but
Yeah,
Oh,
it looks
okay.
like
I really love
looks
that castle.
like Germany's Neuschwanstein.
Yeah, it is. So I don't ever try to copy a castle, and I don't make up something out of my head either. I research castles, and I find a castle that's got some features I like, and then I just kind of throw it all together, mishmash, in however it seems to fit. But I like it to look like it could be real. And I almost always include a watchtower and sometimes a turret or two. And if you're interested in castle nomenclature, there's a good website to look them up. So I always start about a third or possibly a half of the way from the bottom of the log, the part that's in the power head, and I taper it down until the top is completely round. And when we made this demo, I had to make it a little bit smaller than I had intended at first because there was a little rotten streak in it. You'll see it when we get turning here. But it worked out very well. And then after I make it round, I start actually putting features on it. And when I do that, I start at the very top of the castle and work my way back down toward the bottom. I usually include an overhanging battlement like this one has. And it includes those teeth at the top, which are called merlins and crenels. And I've reground an old turning tool just to hollow out the top so that I don't have to move the tool rest. And you'll see it when we get to turning here. I start the stonework at the top of the battlement and draw a horizontal pencil line. Now, that's the way to do it if you really try to be careful and make them all exactly the same, which I don't worry about. So most of the time, I produce those horizontal lines just by eye and try to get them fairly close together. But if you look at old castles where you can see the stonework, none of them are perfect either. So that's my excuse. I try to make the walls fairly straight for the first few inches, and you'll see why later when you have to add a tower onto the side of it. So I have a small sharp skew that I made out of a long screwdriver bit, which for me that works very well for small turning tools. I don't know what the hardness is on them, but it's hard enough for what I'm doing. And I inscribe a shallow cut at each horizontal where I want a horizontal space. And then I start back at the top with a taut, tight wire, and I burn each one of those horizontal lines in. And you need to really be careful doing that. I had it grab my wire one time in my shop and throw it right across the room. Luckily, it slipped right out of my fingers. I try to hold it so it will slip out of my fingers. But just be careful. And then to separate the stones from each other, I burn in short vertical lines with my pyrography pen. And I picked up one from Amazon, and it was only $20 or $30. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't very expensive, and it works great. When deciding how wide to make each stone, remember that you're starting at the top where it's smaller and it's going to get bigger toward the bottom. So you don't want the stones to be too big at the top or they'll really get big at the bottom. There's ways around that though. Start at the top with the teeth. If you don't create an even number of teeth, you'll end up with a wide or a narrow space at the end. So I wrap a piece of paper around there and mark where it overlaps, and then lay that out on the table and measure that distance with a metric scale. And a metric scale makes it real easy to divide it into equal numbers. And that way I try to at least get started with everything's in the right spaces. Transfer these marks onto the wood at the top and make a narrow cut with a Dremel saw blade. You'll see us doing that. Then remove the material between every other cut with that same Dremel blade, and you've created a battlement. Now to turn a tower, you don't need to go out and get a whole nother cherry log for the tower. I guess you could get a branch if you could find one, but any old piece of air-dried cherry will do. And I even made one from some of that Chinese tune that we were able to get a hold of recently. And it came out fairly well. So mount the piece in your chuck and design whatever kind of tower appeals to you. And if you do a little bit of research, you'll find all kinds of towers. Even that one castle that we saw at the beginning had probably 5 or 6 different types of towers on them. If you decide to mount it onto the side of the castle rather than sticking it on the top of the castle, then you need to lower 3 inches or so to be all the same diameter. I guess you could do it if it wasn't, but it would just make it much, much harder. And when I get all done with the tower, I always drill an 1/8 of an inch hole in the top of it for my flagpole with the Union Jack on it, of course. All right, here comes the video.
Okay, let me, why don't you, if there's any questions, now's the time while I get the video ready. Get the
And
video queued up
we'll
here.
come back to we'll come back to more of this PowerPoint at the end.
Right.
Go ahead. You got any questions?
Yeah, I got a question about the seal coat. Do you seal everything or just the ends?
No, I seal the whole thing.
Okay.
That's my finished coat when it's done. Because I want it to look like a castle, you know. I don't want it to be shiny. Any other questions? I guess we're ready, Joe.
Okay, let me know if the volume's okay on this. Can you hear it okay? You hear the music?
Yep. That's good.
Okay.
Naturally, you don't want to pre-drill the holes too big. Make sure you got plenty of wood there for the screw to bite into. Be careful doing this. It slipped out of my hand once and smashed one of my fingernails.
Hey, Joe, is that your tool rest?
Yes, that's
How long is that?
that's like a 22-inch.
That was very nice to work with.
Yeah, I
Who
use
made
that.
it? Who makes that one?
Steve Sinner, that's Sinner Tools.
Okay. Yep.
I use that for to make rolling pins.
Remember, the top of the castle is on the left.
Is that too loud, Steve?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we can still hear you when you're talking.
You'll see a big crack going vertically up that log. I don't worry about the crack. It's part of the mountain that thing's built on. Think of it as an old castle in ruins. There's that rotten place I was telling you about. Any questions? All right, that's pretty much.
I have a
got
question.
Yeah.
I'm watching the way that you're holding your tool, and how come you're holding it like straight into the piece rather than like inclining it at an angle and running it more on the bevel? It almost looks
Uh,
like you're not running it on the bevel.
yeah, it's on the bevel, or it's
Okay.
pretty close to it anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
I've pretty much got it roughed out now, and I'm trying to shape it a little bit more now. Notice how the top part on the right, well, now back on the left, is a little bit bigger. Yeah, still a little bit of rot there.
I think on that angle you can see it. It is pretty much on the bevel there.
Not on the bevel there, obviously.
Are you still running down at 800 at this point?
Joe, do you have any idea what speed we were going?
I mean, did you
No,
bump it up a little bit as you trued it?
I've turned it up faster than it was at the very beginning.
yeah, I think
So
it was
as you
running.
trued it out, you
Yeah.
did bump it up a little bit. Okay, good.
All right, there's that special tool I made just to hollow out the top of it.
Yeah, I paused it there. Yeah, I don't know what the speed was there. I was working the one of the camera. One of the this
I was just more curious if you were walking it up more than what the actual speed was. 'Cause I remember you said, he started at 8. Just wanted to see if he was walking it up as he trued it out. But
Oh, yeah,
you already
definitely.
answered that. Thank you.
yeah.
As soon as I make sure it's balanced, I'll crank up the speed a little bit.
Yeah.
I never like to turn anything too fast.
Yeah, but I was just wondering with the other end still being a little natural if you were keeping it low.
You don't want to make this part too thin, just to make it realistic. If you look at castles, that part with the teeth on it was pretty thick, really. Now I'm making the horizontal lines, of course.
I just noticed one nice thing about that long tool rest is kind of protecting your elbow there, from that log spinning around.
Oh, that was very handy to have, yeah.
How many bricks do you end up making for one of these towers?
I knew somebody would have to ask me that. I never count them. Well, I did count them one time, but it was, over 1,000. I didn't count each one, but I used a little math. All right, see how I made those upside down stair steps? That's a gouge I bought from Woodcraft probably 40 years ago. I've just about run out of the hollow part. There's that tool I made out of a screwdriver bit. Did you know that some people in France are actually building a castle from scratch the way it was done originally? And there's a really neat Facebook series on that. Now, when I do this, I do very little sanding on it. I like it to be rough. And this part right here, I don't use a wire on. Getting a lot of air now.
Yeah.
Notice how I hold it at a little bit of an angle so that the one face of it is perpendicular with the line. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it to stay in that little slot. I try to hold it on there until I see a little puff of smoke.
The camera, I don't want to get in the way. I'm trying to just get right over your shoulder.
Yeah.
You don't even use a toggle on that wire, huh? That's just holding it with your bare hands?
No. There's a little 1/8 inch dowel at each end.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I got a catch here that Joe cut out, but all it did was break that dowel in half.
Yeah, I left that part out. This is wire from these are guitar strings, right, Steve?
No, I would like to get some guitar strings, but this is aircraft safety wire.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I have some guitar strings. I'll hook you up next time I see you if I can find them.
What gauge was that, Steve?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess 40 thousandths or something like that.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, there's my cheapo wood burner, but I really like it. It works very well. Let's see. And that's just about all the sanding I ever do on these. Yep. Now I'm wrapping that paper around it to try to get an even number. As it turned out, it wasn't necessary because I had that big crack there. I could have just started at the crack and it wouldn't have mattered where I ended up. There's going to be a lot of them. And I just try to get a number that looks like it ought to be there. Trust me, you cannot do this all day. I work at it for an hour or so, and then I'll go do something else for a while.
It's clever leaving it mounted on the lathe like this and doing it on the lathe. It just makes it easy. You just turn it a little bit each time.
Absolutely.
You only mark that one course, and then the rest of you just eyeball, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, the next course up, I do it in the middle of the first course
Right.
and just keep going up like that. And I always try to do one line all the way around and then do the next line to it and the next line to that. Because if you try to fudge and not turn the castle and do a whole bunch, you'll mess it up. Or I will anyway. All right, here's that Dremel wannabe.
All right, speaking up.
This is actually Joe's.
All right, we're filming.
I guess you understand that that's actually a little saw blade.
Yeah, there was a good shot of it there. You held it up. We could
Right.
see it.
It looks pretty fierce, but it handles well.
I was gonna say those blades scare the hell out of me. I've never had the heart to put one on.
But they did me at first too.
But they're very terrifying.
I started out and I did this with a hammer, and, well, a mallet and a chisel, but I didn't have very good results. And I finally found these little saw blades. That works very well. Starting to look like something now.
Yeah, that's more comfortable.
All right, now we got rid of the tail rest and I'm finishing up flattening the top. You don't get a chance to see this one finished in this video, but I sent some pictures into Joe today that should be on the I'm just using the edge of this rule to make sure it's flat.
You know the old expression, watching paint dry?
Yeah, how about it?
I think I'm going to change that to watching bricks be laid on a turning.
Well, you're going to be thankful that Joe knows how to cut the video.
I wanted to see you go put them all in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, that'd been interesting, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. And it's just a click of the button.
Now I'm going up here and I'm darkening in the lines that I couldn't do with the wire. I couldn't do this before I bought that wood burning kit. Excuse me, pyrography kit. All right, I think you get the idea about the castle, but now we're going to make a tower. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time doing the turning. And like I said, this is a piece of Chinese stone. I don't know anything about that wood at all, except that it's kind of red colored.
Yeah, they also call it Chinese mahogany because of the reddish tint to it.
Hadn't we gotten some of that from the
Yeah, there. That's this stuff from the
that's
Barnes.
right.
Yeah, the Barnes Arboretum. That's where we got
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
back when Eric was still living. I
Yes.
think I got some through him. I love that stuff.
yeah.
It's awesome.
I got quite a bit of it and made quite a few bowls out of that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Did you burn the horizontal lines with the wire already and just not show it?
Yeah, I edited that out.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put the windows in here.
What are you coloring the epoxy with?
Steve, you're muted. You're still muted. Yep.
There we go.
There you go.
I don't know what's going on.
The question.
That's powdered charcoal. I've
Yeah.
got a wood stove, and I just get chunks of charcoal when it's in the morning, before we light a fire, and pulverize it, and then sift it through a screen.
Cool.
And you'll see a little bit more of this when we get to the slide part. And this, by the way, is not the same castle. You see that little part hanging out at the bottom of the tower? That's the brick loo, or as the Romans called it, the necessarium.
Steve, I thought that's what the rotted part on the other one was for.
Okay.
All right, a little bit more and we'll be done.
Okay. Any questions while I get the PowerPoint queued up again here?
I'm curious how you would recenter it once you have the faceplate attached on one end.
Say that again. How would I recenter it?
Yeah, once you have the faceplate attached to the end, I don't know how you would
Well,
rebalance it.
I don't. If it's not balanced, I take the screws out and shift them.
You basically start over. You take the leg screws out and start over, Dan.
Yeah.
Understood.
I noticed that when you put the turret on, you've cut two flat faces. That's the easy part. But right at the bottom where the castle flares, how did you cut the turret to fit into those last 3 or 4 rings?
You'll see in the slideshow here in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're going to cover that. Go ahead, Steve.
All right. Like I said, so much for the easy work. You can probably accomplish everything up to this point in a couple afternoons. But it may take you 2 or 3 more afternoons just to attach it to the castle. But it needs to look like it was added as the castle was built, or in other words, like it grew there itself, not like it was slapped on the side. So to do that, you've got to do some cutting and carving. The first thing I do is, there's 2 different methods. So in this method, I use a little jig I've made here to lay the tower in, and I make a cut on the bandsaw as if I was trying to cut it in half lengthwise. But I only go up there a couple inches, and then I turn this and cut that piece off that I just, well, you'll see here in just a second. There we go. There. I cut that big chunk off, and it leaves me a flat surface there. And if I've done it right, that flat surface, when it fits up against the castle, is going to hold that tower straight up and down. So now I have to carve a place on the castle for that to fit. And that's what takes all the work. And notice down at the bottom, I've even cut out for each individual row of stones. And I've let the top in a little bit so it doesn't sit right on top of the castle. And that takes a little bit of work. But I found a different way to do it, and I'll show you here later in this video. So I just spread the epoxy out and try to make sure it's all over it. So this is the other way. And I've only done one like this, but I like the results. So I leave the castle round, except I take off the battlement at the top. And all the time I'm fitting the tower up against it so that it mates very well. And then I've still got to cut that castle in lengthwise a little bit and cut a chunk out of it. But then I've got to use a curved chisel. That's what I was talking about, Mike. The one I was using wasn't as sharp as I'd like to have been. But just keep carving that out until it fits very nicely. And I really like the results from that. And maybe I got lucky the first time, I don't know, but it fits very, very well. And I always like to make a base at the bottom of the castle so that it just doesn't sit on a doily or something in the corner. So I start out with a piece of 3/4 inch wood usually. Doesn't really matter what kind of wood. This here is actually American chestnut that I happen to have, and I dyed it when I got done. Dyed it. I hollow it out on the top I've got an overarm router I built just for this purpose, and I just try to make it fit as close as I can so there's no gap between the castle and the base. And I turn it over and put 3 or 4 feet on it. I like making feet on things. If you remember my 8-foot bowl.
Yes.
All right. And if you want to go to that YouTube channel, that's my YouTube channel, and I've got a video of the overarm router, but I built the whole thing myself. All right, after you cut out the inside of the base, then draw another line about a half an inch outside of that line and cut it on a scroll saw or a bandsaw on that line and shape it so that it fits in the castle. Can you back up one, Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I epoxy the castle to the base. I've never had one come apart yet. You could screw it together if you wanted, I guess, but we try to avoid having screws that show, don't we?
Right.
And that's about it.
Yeah,
and here's a list of all the materials I use.
And we'll make this available on our website. When the video is ready, we're going to upload it. This recording of our meeting, we're going to upload this to our YouTube channel, and I'll send out the link when I get that ready, and I'll include the presentation here with all this information.
Hey, Steve, the tip that you used for the pyrography kit, that almost looked like a standard like soldering iron tip. Is that what that was, or something special?
No, it came with a kit. It came with a little can of tips, and I just pick out the one that seems to work, and I actually filed it a little bit so that the tip of it wasn't quite as wide.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Steve, that screwdriver tool that you square up the steps,
yeah.
What kind of a tip do you grind on that? Did you comment on that?
It's just like a skew, only it's a tiny skew.
Okay.
I like it a lot for what I'm using it for.
Right. You're just squaring up the steps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm making a place for the wire to go when I burn in all the horizontal lines.
Right.
Yep.
Steve, do you mind if I ask that the link for the presentation gets sent to me? And I'd like your permission to add it to my newsletter. I'm still doing my newsletter from here every weekend.
Yeah, please do.
So wonderful, thanks. So
Joe,
if you could send me the link as well, you've got my email.
Joe, can you do that?
I do. Yeah. Yes, Stan. I will.
Wonderful. Thanks ever so much.
Absolutely.
Hey, Steve, have you ever used Kutzall tips to grind the battlements out at the top instead of the little saw?
No, but I'm always open to suggestions. Kutzall.
Yeah, they make some of the coolest Dremel tips and power grinder, power hand tool.
All right, I'm going to write that down.
Kutzall.
Oh,
yeah, I showed you, Steve. I showed you a couple of those I had when you were here.
Yeah, that's right. You did. Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that go to my my high speed.
I didn't realize what the brand name was, but
yeah, it's KUTZ, right? Or KUTZALL.
KUTZALL, I think.
Yeah. You can find those on Amazon also, or pretty much any like Woodcraft.
Right.
Woodcraft probably has them.
Woodcraft has it. Woodcarver Supply, lots of places.
Yeah.
The challenge might be that they tend to walk if you're not careful how you're using them. So maybe your saw is a better thing as long as you don't cut your fingernails with it. So,
I
No,
would think
not,
upside down on a router table would be a great way to cut those out.
ah,
I do something like that with the lamps I make where I cut the slot for the cord and you just, set the router table and you could just rotate it and just zip, zip, zip if you had a little slide table.
that saw actually seemed to work quite well. Unless you're experienced using a rotary burr, it can wander. It's hard to cut straight
yeah.
line.
yeah, I've tried the rotary burr and that didn't work out very well. This is working fine for me, so.
I love the little door right in the middle.
Yeah,
Is
it's got a diving board on
is that what it is?
it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. If you, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but right here, there's like a plank, like a walk the plank type thing right there.
Right, yeah.
Well, actually, just above that, right there, there's a little lift, like a winch.
Yeah,
Oh,
those you can see there's a
And if
line
you
going
look
down
carefully, there's a line going down there, a thread,
with a
and
bucket, right?
down at the bottom of the thread is a little chair that
Oh,
you can.
okay. And you can see here, there's like a little winch right here. We turn and it winds it up.
Theoretically, the queen could ride the chair up to her castle. I didn't really like the results of that. I usually don't put anything up on top of them.
what kind of roof's on that one?
That's metal,
That-
right, Steve?
Yeah, that's that leaf, gold leaf.
Gold leaf. Okay, there you
Oh.
It's
go.
artificial gold leaf.
On wood.
How did you get it to stain like that?
Like that. Don't you,
How to get it to what?
The color,
To
the
stain.
stain.
It looks as though you've.
That's the way it comes. You can order different kinds. You can make it just gold.
Okay.
You can make it copper looking, or this is aged copper, I think.
Ah,
And if you've
Neat.
never tried gold leaf, it's not difficult, and it's not expensive either if you use artificial gold.
yeah. Didn't you do a demo for us many years ago at Woodcraft where you showed us how your
I
gold
might
leaf?
have, yeah, I might
Yeah,
have.
I remember that. It was an in person. We were meeting in person. It was
Yeah.
quite a long time
And
ago.
I'm no expert. I'm just the point is it's not that hard to do.
Yeah. This over here, the one over in the left looks really cool with the red color here and the way this one is attached on the side.
Yeah.
Very cool.
This whole project is amazing. This is a great, great thing, Steve. I was really looking forward to this demo. It's not
Good.
a letdown at all. Just great creativity. I love it.
Yeah,
One
there
more
was-
question, Steve.
Yes, sir.
The weight of the castle once it's all completed, is it quite heavy?
is.
Have you considered taking an arbor, and drilling out a chunk from the bottom?
I have considered that because it is heavy, and I'm getting ready to ship 3 of them to the West Coast.
Oh my.
So I'm not sure if I want to put them in separate boxes or not.
Yeah.
Usually it's cheaper if you put them all in one box. But
Hey, Steve, do you ever make the castle all the way to the base, or do you always leave part of the natural wood on?
I always leave part of the natural wood on there.
Always. Okay.
Well, so far.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like the stone mountain it's built on, right? So,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the whole part of the rustic
I
charm.
call it a rocky crag.
Yeah. Now the towers, that's all done. You know, like the turret or the tower he put on the side. That's turned all the way
It's
top to
turned
bottom.
all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah. But
There's that chess piece behind his head there.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I have better photos of that somewhere, but
Well,
amazing chess set.
That's one of your photos.
Yeah, that was from our holiday party back in December. You brought that
Right.
into for the holiday party's instant gallery. And you can see the rooks are little miniature castles. complete with turrets.
That chessboard that it's sitting on, actually, I made that for somebody else, and he now has it. So I need to get busy making a new chessboard.
Ah, there you go.
And I subscribed to Fine Woodworking magazine, and last month they had an article about that. So
Oh,
my subscription hasn't been wasted.
I have to say, you know, I really like the projects, Steve, and no two are alike. Uh, I like that as well. Some people do lighthouses, and I've seen some nice ones
I've tried that,
on
but
that theme too. But the castles, I think, lend themselves to more irregular shapes and turrets and other features, and the splits add to it.
yeah.
exactly.
You lose the imperfections in it.
I've tried lighthouses, and there's just not that much variation in lighthouses.
Not as interesting. Yeah.
No.
Well, Steve, as somebody who's been to Europe enough times to see just about every castle there,
Well, that's a lot of castles.
There's a lot of castles, believe me. I've been everywhere from the French castles to Vlad the Impaler's castles. So this is really inspirational. Thank you so much. This is
all right. We hope to see a bunch of castles at our next show and tell next month or whenever,
or at least at our Christmas party.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
All right. If there's no more questions, we want to move on to our show and tell, our member show and tell. Is there any other quick questions for Steve?
Yeah, the only comment I have is they don't give me any warm fuzzies. If you've been in those castles, they're cold and hard and everything else. I worked on a dramatic film a couple of decades ago over there in France, and boy, they're not something to give you warm fuzzies.
Right.
The only thing they're good for is keeping the wine at the right temperature.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you. Thanks again so much for that. That was really a great demonstration.
And thank you for your help, Joe.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. And I'll get once we'll get this recording edited and uploaded to our YouTube channel. We'll get that sent out to everyone. Tom, do you have our show and tell? I made you co-host. You're all good to go?
Yep.
All right, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. All right, Gary. So here we go. Let's see. All right, come on. There we go.
Okay, this is the first image. I want to thank Steve again. That was really inspirational, Steve, and that's a heck of a hard act to follow. This is just a simple weed pot, basically, with a dried orchid composition. I grow orchids, and sometimes they stay on the stem like this, so it's fun to play with them. The wood is Sharpia, which comes from South America. It's a Dipteryx, which is bean family. I normally turn local woods, but I got this on eBay about 20 years ago before I knew any better, and I had to do something with it. So the finish is just simple Watco Danish. I don't put Watco on much anymore because I don't like the color change, but it works very well on cherry, and it works on this. I got the idea for this shape from a Japanese ceramic artist named Akira Satake, who has a place in Asheville, and he makes a sake pitcher that looks kind of like this. It's called a takuri. So I call this takuri silhouette because I decided just to make kind of a two-dimensional version of it.
I like that. That's nice, Gary.
I like the shape very much.
Yeah, very nice.
Thanks. Well, if you take away the orchid, there's not a whole lot there. But okay, so this next piece is actually pretty complicated. it's a hard piece to take a picture of, and I would have needed like 4 photos to do it justice. But this is what I call a bowl in a box. If you look carefully, you'll see that it really is a box with a lid and a hollow space underneath. I've actually got some glass marbles in there just as a little decoration. The wood is silver maple, very highly spalted, white spalted silver maple from a tree that was in our neighborhood many years ago. I was making a bowl, and I decided when I got in there, the spalting was just too pretty to turn away. And so I decided to stop hollowing it and turn it into a box in a bowl. There is another image also that shows another aspect of it. I turned the outside and set it aside for about 15 years and didn't know what to do with it. And then part of the problem was because it had pith cracks, which the next slide will show if you can get it up there. There it is. So you can see it had pith cracks, which is why I didn't do anything with it. But then Paul Poxtelis came along with his lathe engraver, and Pat has one of those. And one thing that it works very nicely for is making peewa pockets, or butterflies, if you will. So MCW had a day where Paul brought his lathe engraver, and we all got to make peewa pockets. So that's the way I salvaged this piece of wood. You can see that it also has, the foot is wrapped with copper wire. But what I have to talk about is the finial, because, pretty obviously that's attention grabbing. I have to say that this finial is not my own design. It is a direct copy of a signature form by ceramic artist Greg Holmes. Greg is a friend of mine, and I did this with his knowledge, but of course I would never sell it because this is his intellectual property. I really love it. He puts this kind of finial on a number of his ceramic forms. That's it.
Is that soldered together or what?
He solders. He does jewelry type soldering with little tiny bits of solder. The answer is no. I glued it together with CA.
Oh, Renee.
Yes. Okay, so it's beechwood, and if you're familiar with Stuart Farini or Emma Cook, they've done bowls like this, and so that was my inspiration, and something I wanted to do was to play with color, and
I love
my
it.
first attempt, and I'm pleased with it, but I want to experiment further.
Looks great.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, the bottom looks great. Really nicely turned too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice OG shape there. Very nice.
So this is just a simple ice cream scoop, and it's really just my first attempt at making a hybrid blank, and that's why I put it in there. It's not just an ice cream, scoop kit that I put my own blank on.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
What kind of burl was that?
It was a gifted burl. I have no idea.
The best kind.
Yeah, the best kind. Oh, yeah, just what I worked on over Christmas. I did quite a few of them for family gifts. So they're cherry base, and it's a cherry head, but obviously different coloration there. But again, this is an Emma Cook inspiration. So you don't have a picture of them, but they do light up. The globe has fairy lights inside of them.
Oh, neat. How big are they? How tall are they? I didn't see the specs.
They're roughly 7-8 inches.
Okay.
And the base diameter is 3 inches, sometimes up to 4 inches.
So is
So
is
that
the is the
go ahead.
base like hollowed out? Or is there like a battery in
Yes,
there? Or?
the base is hollowed out, and there's a battery glued to the bottom, and the wire goes up through the base into the bulb.
Oh,
Could we see a picture of it lit up
very cool.
next month?
I don't think I sent a picture of it lit up.
Next
No.
time.
No, next month.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
next time. Yeah.
That
Very
might be
cool.
a fun demo toward the end of the year.
Yeah. That's neat.
Jim,
Oh, nice.
My passion of lately and is stirred up again was by the demo, I think a couple months ago or a month
That
or
was
two ago.
last month.
Tom
That
and
was just last
Marge.
month. The multi-axis.
Yeah.
Yep.
The wig stand demo by Tom and Marge, I think.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking
yeah.
about the multi-axis.
Well,
well,
he
the
combined both of them.
well, I have promised myself to work on one a week here, and my instead of making this pedestal just as basic as possible, I'm using it as an opportunity to spend more time with off-center turning. So you're right, Joe. It is an off-center turning, and every
Cool.
one of my pedestals now are off-center turned. And on this one, I actually did a multi-axis bowl turning. It's 6.5 by 8.5 base, and then it's 13 inches tall with a 5-inch cap on it, or whatever you call it.
Okay.
I use iridescent paints. I've come to really love those. I think the next one is a combination of shows. My next slide shows. I also love cup cutters, concave cup cutters,
Mm-hmm.
and I made myself a jig to hold my die grinder so I can aim it exactly where I want it instead of randomly hitting it. And I got to playing around with it. The sad part is the bottom part will hardly ever be seen except by the person who sets it on their bureau or their
Mm-hmm.
so that's my fun. This is the third one in my series of off-center turnings, and I have another one in process, but I didn't quite finish this week. I had too many interruptions. So, but
Steve,
Yeah.
here you go.
All right. Here's that castle that I was turning in the demo and the tower too. Complete.
Cool.
I think the top turned out pretty neat.
Yeah.
Dan,
Hey, so that's a piece of Norway maple, burl, kind of spalted. Um, not that special, just something to show.
Nice. Very nicely done.
map of the world.
Yeah, that's a piece of real nice ambrosia maple. I've got a wood turning arborist friend of mine that supplies me with some nice wood. So just a bowl, nothing special.
I like the title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, one last comment. I've been turning on a shopsmith since 1979, and I recently bought a real lathe. So that's about 10 inches in diameter, and I really wasn't capable of getting the shopsmith stable enough to do something that big until now. So it's very rewarding.
Nice.
Good. Good for you.
That's what I started out with.
Okay, I made 3 ornaments. The Thank you. The one in the center and the one to the right, Tom had made these pieces from a what did you make them from?
Oh, they're just two befores.
Yeah. So we've had them since like what, 2018 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I thought I'd finish them off, and I tried to have the centers pick out wood that complemented the centers so that they had some contrast but weren't exactly the same. I'm getting a love for the grain of the wood. Don't think. Um, because I like to paint everything. And the one to the left is an icicle.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Holly
Yeah.
that Jack
Holly.
Donovan gave her.
Marge, what tool are
Yes.
you using
I'm
to
sorry.
make it? What tool are you using to turn those shapes?
What tool?
Yeah,
You just
spindle gouge?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't know if you were using a skew or not. So.
Um,
What what she's using principally, Jim, is she starts out with a spindle gouge. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I started with spindle gouge, but for some of the finer work, I use carbide tools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, because it's a lot easier for me, especially with the beading and everything.
Nice.
Right. Thank you.
This was a bowl I did last fall for a charity auction, and unfortunately it didn't sell. But I call it an autumn bowl. It was another Stuart Farini inspired shape, and it's silver maple with dye.
Hey, Tom,
Yes,
that center looks like it's coming forward instead of going down.
Yeah,
doesn't
Look
it?
at
a
it.
little
Look
bit
at
of
it
illusion
again.
there. Yeah.
It's
That's
quite
what
the
I
illusion. Whoa.
that's what I thought.
Did you? Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
it's an upside down.
Yeah.
What are the dyes that you used? What colors?
I used Chromacraft dyes that I bought at the AAW symposium. Nick Agar worked that booth a lot, and I stopped and talked to him, and he showed me some of the dyes. So I bought a few of the dyes to try out.
And that's just red that you used, or
No, there's
multiple?
actually a yellow base.
Okay.
There's a deep red. There's a light orange. There's purple.
Wow.
When you see it in person, there's even some green in there. The photograph doesn't really do it justice. When you get it in a light and can turn it and twist it around, you can see a lot of the other colors.
Did you put another finish on top of the die?
Yes, it's lacquer, sprayed
Okay.
lacquer.
Okay.
Yeah. And the bottom is just typical bottom. This was a gift bowl. I promised a neighbor about 9 years ago that I'd make her a bowl. And, I'm sure she thinks I forgot about it, but I found this piece of maple, and it had such a figure in it, and so I decided to go ahead and make her a bowl. And it maxed out my lathe. It's about 11 and a half inches wide. Obviously, it has a lot of character in the bottom, and it's about 5.5 inches tall. So it's a pretty good sized bowl. And unfortunately, it took me a long time to get it to her, but I think she likes it. Um, I call this the Mandonat fountain pen. Steve's granddaughter wanted a fountain pen, and Steve provided me with some big leaf maple burl that he says has been in his family for 40 years. Apparently his father cut it down or something like that.
Well,
And
he bought it from someplace, but he was from Oregon, so.
yes, so he came over, we made the fountain pen. There's the finished pen, and the only reason I stuck the little piece up in the corner is that I made some wooden holders, grommets, because I didn't have any nylon grommets, and I put a CA finish on it. So that's about 12 to 15 coats of medium CA.
Mhm.
And then it's sanded and then buffed with a polishing liquid.
Abby is thrilled to death with that pen.
Good. I'm glad. Did she get her ink?
Yes, she did.
Good, good.
And I've got some more wood for you.
Oh, good, great. Joe?
Okay, so
Wow.
this is a sphere on stand. I see. I wanted to show this to you, Steve, when you were over here, and I completely forgot. But yeah. So it's a walnut sphere. It's a solid walnut sphere. It's about 4.5 inches in diameter, and it's just I love the sphere. It's pretty cool looking in person. And then I made this stand for it is a piece of crab apple that I've had for quite a long time, and you probably can't see it, but at the joints or the junctures where I went in with the skew chisel there, I actually used the burning wires to make little black lines, like down. I think you can see where I mean. There's
Yeah.
yeah, so I did. It's very subtle, but there's little black lines at the I don't know what you call it, the gullies or
The small part.
yeah, the small little parts. Yeah, like yeah, where the one yeah. I can't remember the names of all the different parts, but so anyway, it's I think it's about 14, 15 inches tall overall. So that's it.
Nicely done.
Thank
Nice
you.
shapes,
Yeah.
nice shapes.
With the skew, I'm sure, right?
It was skew and spindle gouge. Yeah, probably mostly the skew, but yeah, some I use a spindle gouge on some of the little ball there in the center of the
No, I
spindle.
meant your sphere was probably your skew, or
No, the sphere was roughed out with a spindle gouge, and then I have a jig that I finished it to make it perfectly round.
oh, okay, okay.
But
I
yeah.
think Joe wouldn't use the skew. I mean, he does bowls with skews.
Thanks, John.
I just kidding. Good. Don't mind that.
And that is it.
All right. Oh, finished on time. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question. Any of you ever turned magnolia?
Yes,
Um,
it's not bad.
it has an interesting grain pattern based on. I just got some from my wife's niece this week. She has a horse farm. She called me and said, I took down a big magnolia. And I said, hey, I want that. So she kept it in her barn. I finally picked it up. As soon as I got here, I sliced it right through the smallest crotch that was there. And I
It's
was
really soft, though, I
delighted.
think.
Huh?
It's a really soft wood, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little soft.
Yeah, I think
But
it's really soft.
so far I've been drying the very little piece I turned first in my microwave at my usual regimen. It hasn't cracked, and it's almost 100% dry. So,
I've done quite a bit of magnolia. I may have sent a photo of a live edge or a natural edge magnolia bowl in my email.
Oh,
I sent a couple of photos of my work in the email. The very light colored one, if you've still got it, But yeah, now I've turned quite a bit of magnolia. Obviously, perhaps growth rates are different in New Zealand and so on, but I enjoy it. I don't find it too soft. And I've turned it wet and then dried it in a freezing and refrigerating method. So I turned that bowl, that magnolia that I think I sent a picture of.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't wait a minute, I'm looking. I've gotten so many emails here. I think I've lost your email.
Not to worry, I'm just mentioning it.
Oh, here it is. Wait a minute. Let's see. No, did you you contacted us through the website, right?
Yeah, and I also wrote to Julie as well.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't get the photos. I got the note through the website. I didn't see the photos.
Okay. So no, it was in the other emails. Anyway,
Yeah.
I turned down to about 5 mils, 6 mils, very, quite thin.
Oh, nice.
And then I freeze it overnight. And I probably would have done the first 2 lots of sanding, before I take it off the lathe. Then I freeze it, and probably 4 weeks or so, 5 weeks, 6 weeks in the fridge. So I just leave it overnight in the freezer and then into the fridge, and I just weigh it weekly. And as soon as it stops reducing in weight, then I'll put it. I'll leave the spigot on the bottom of the bowl. I'll put it back on the bowl and finish the sanding, and then take the spigot off, turn the bowl around, use a jam chuck, and take the spigot off the bottom. So yeah, I recommend trying magnolia. I quite like you turning it.
Yeah, interesting. We don't have a lot of magnolia here in Delaware, do we? I guess it's more downstate.
We do downstate, yeah.
Even the piece I had was small, and it came from Eric. Like, he had a bunch of small pieces that I turned. So the little one I had was really soft, but it wasn't a huge sample to really judge the wood with.
Well, there's a lot of different kinds of magnolia. Like here in Silver Spring, many people have different types of magnolia boulevard trees. We have the classic southern magnolia, but there's also star magnolia and a number of others.
Yeah.
This one came from Lancaster County up in Pennsylvania, north of here. If you
really?
have just
that far north? Magnolia that far north?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it was big. I got the whole trunk with all the branches out, and I haven't started working on that. Hey, if you got a minute, I can share quickly the picture to show you the grain I had, unless you don't have time for it.
We're running a little tight here. Do you have it there available? You have it right there?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
It says sharing's not turned on.
Yep. Gotcha.
That's all right.
Go
Don't
ahead.
worry about
You
it.
got it now.
Okay. Right there. That's a crotch cut
Oh, okay.
on a branch.
Oh, wow.
That surprised me. I was totally surprised because I had never opened up one like that. That's pretty much right down the crotch. So
Wow. That's spectacular.
I would love to see a gentleman from on the other side of the world show. I'd like to see his stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry I don't know your name. I apologize.
Stret, right? Am I saying that right? Is he still with us, Stret?
Uh-oh.
It
We
was
scared him off.
That's it's Strett. Strat. I think it's Stret. I might be saying it wrong.
Nicholson, or it's
No, you're saying it's spot on.
Oh,
Well
okay. There you go.
I can send you a photo, and you might, have a look at it or share it. I just haven't. I'm on my son's computer at the moment. My computer's downstairs, so I can't do it immediately.
That's cool.
But I'm speaking to Jim. Am I? For Jim about the magnolia. That looks a little bit darker than the magnolia I've turned is a lot, perhaps I'd say lighter, whiter. that looks as though it's beginning to spalt a bit.
Huh?
Oh,
Could be.
Yeah, you'll see in mine. It's far lighter than that.
This was
Pizza has
dropped.
it's more like maple in
This
color.
was dropped just a month ago. So.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think some of the species have color in them.
There are
Sorry.
also some diseases which affect magnolias and can cause some discoloration like that.
Oh,
And
okay.
that
Thanks,
may be
Pat.
why. That may be why they brought it down
Yeah.
because of disease.
All right, folks, we're hitting up against the clock here. We got our final segment of the evening is our 50-50 raffle. So I'm going to go over here to my other screen and see if I can share this. Thanks everyone. Again, thanks everyone for your support and for buying a ticket.